Hello, I'm Barbara Benjamin, and I'm delighted to be with you today. For the next 30 minutes, we will be focusing on the critical challenge that every organization faces, namely generating sustainable growth. We will also be exploring introspection, an interactive root cause analysis workshop that helps employees to discover and to overcome their individual core barriers to optimum performance. And we will be identifying the way that this tool can provide the solution to many of your organizational problems. In the more than 25 years that I have been training leaders and consulting with organizations to help them define and meet their goals, I've noticed that no matter how many new strategic and tactical initiatives are adopted to solve problems, these initiatives often yield disappointing results. While we experience excitement, engagement, and incremental progress, are we ever completely satisfied in the months and years that follow? Do we actually pull through and sustain desired outcomes? I can recall so many of those disappointing initiatives: entrepreneurship, re-engineering, right-sizing, quality. And I'm sure you can recall a number of those initiatives too that you've seen come and go with little measurable improvement in generating sustainable organizational growth. I especially recall, with some distress, sitting around a conference table with the CEO and two vice presidents of a world-renowned consulting firm that was at the time rolling out a global training program. This program was aimed at restructuring management of an organization to enable it to meet stakeholders' needs and expectations efficiently and effectively without compromising ethical values. During our meeting, I asked them what plans they had made for retraining the people that they were relying upon to implement the initiative. What provisions had they made to realign employees' motivations and perceptions and to guide them in transforming their understanding of their new roles and new responsibilities? For surely, I suggested to them, they must know that without a fundamental shift in employees' motivations and perceptions, they would not be able to implement this initiative, and it would fail. Their answer continues to echo in my mind. Well, they said, we can't do everything. 10 years later, the headline in the business section of the New York Times announced that this initiative was, in fact, a multi-million-dollar failure. The Times article stated that the basic fundamental principles of this initiative were sound, but it was a failure because of a gap between the initiative and its implementation. Later studies indicated that this gap was created by deficiencies in employee performance required to implement the initiative. And to try to reverse this failure, organizations began to put more emphasis on organizational and personal learning. No matter what strategic and tactical initiatives an organization introduces to improve its ability to generate sustainable growth, an emphasis on personal learning is essential. However, this learning is least effective when presented with the most traditional teaching method, that is, telling people what they have to learn and what they have to do. Every study of educational methodology reveals that the worst way to educate people is by telling them what you want them to do and what you want them to learn. And the best way to teach people and transform behaviors is by involving them in doing what they need to learn. Yet if you think about it, most of the training in organizations does just that. It tells employees what they have to learn and what they have to do, what values they are to embrace, and what strategic objectives they are to implement. Even though these training sessions often provide follow-up materials and training, this trainer-telling employees' outside-in approach to learning often yields only perfunctory employee compliance to meet desired goals. It does little to challenge the core motivations and perceptions that drive performance behavior. In fact, this training delivered from outside in often has as lasting an impact on employees as the messages we write in the sand on the beach just before high tide rolls in. Many training programs, of course, do include active employee participation and learning by doing, and they are very effective as a transactional approach for training employees in new technical procedures and for developing essential skills like communication and team collaboration. Still, other programs provide a useful mirror for employees to define their personality profile or their best career path. And analytical tools, looking from the outside in, are also helpful in identifying root cause of events that result in undesired outcomes. However, these training and analytical tools have their limitations in that they do not interactively engage employees in looking inside themselves and identifying and overcoming the root cause for their individual barriers to performance excellence. These barriers, embedded in employees' motivations and perceptions, are the ultimate determinants of high-quality performance, and, in turn, the ultimate determinants of the success of any organizational initiative. Considering, then, that employees are so rarely engaged in interactive root cause analysis to discover and overcome their individual and personal barriers to performance excellence, is it any surprise that there is so little sustainable change in most organizations, even though organizations sincerely want things to improve, and to this end, they allocate millions of training dollars in their annual budgets. Mahatma Gandhi understood that all change, whether in an organization or in a nation or in the world, begins with our changing ourselves. And I quote, "If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do." Clearly, no organizational initiative can succeed without the employees changing themselves, for they are on the front line of implementing the initiative. This is fundamental. I believe that the executives who launched the failed initiatives that I referred to a few minutes ago were sincere when they said that they can't do everything. Specifically, they could not address the problems of working with employees to change themselves, their motivations, their perceptions, and their performance. I think most organizations are addressing these issues and having problems with them, but they are the root cause of all employee performance problems, problems that can and do scuttle perfectly sound organizational initiatives. We see these performance problems reflected in absenteeism and attrition, low morale, perfunctory performance, minimal engagement and innovation, poor customer service resulting in a declining customer base, and resistance to internal and external culture change. Like a four-cylinder engine with two cylinders clogged, organizations are often sputtering along with only half of the potential of their employees' energy, ingenuity, courage, and passion being released. This is bad news for both organizations and their employees. The good news is that unlimited energy, ingenuity, courage, and passion can be released once employees are engaged interactively in discovering and overcoming the barriers to high performance that are embedded in their motivations, their expectations, their habitual behaviors, and their ingrained thoughts and feelings. Many operational initiatives negatively impact performance, and most performance initiatives have lackluster results. To break this cycle, interactive guided introspection provides employees with the tools to address and resolve the root cause of their performance problems, and, in turn, they become increasingly more effective in implementing organizational initiatives. Now, why is it so critical to engage employees in looking inside in order to solve the performance problems that they are facing outside? Well, like all systems in the universe, there is an internal mechanism that makes us work. When we only look at the outside reflection of that mechanism, we are at a loss to change things, and the best we can do is to introduce one external initiative after another to try and fix the problems we can see. A colleague of mine likes to say that all we are doing with all our operational and performance initiatives is rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Hopefully, that is an exaggeration, and our organizations are not about to hit an iceberg and sink. But they still clearly face the challenge of releasing the infinite potential of their employees to generate sustainable growth. So let's focus again on the value of employees looking inside to discover how they work and how their motivations, expectations, habitual behaviors, and ingrained thoughts and feelings determine their day-to-day performance. To illustrate the value of looking inside and solving problems from the inside out, let's compare ourselves to a computer. Like all systems, our performance is always a reflection of how we are working inside, just as the information on a computer screen is a reflection of how the computer is working inside. Now, when a computer is not working well, and the words jump on the page, or an important diagram starts to just fold into a dot right in front of our eyes, we may try a few corrections, and we may be lucky enough to have them work. But when the same problem repeats itself over and over again, we usually call our techie. And our techie tells us what the problem is and the workarounds that are being used to solve the problem. Now, why can the techie do this and we can't? The answer is simple. The techie knows how the computer works from the inside out. And with this knowledge, an infinite number of potential solutions become obvious and available. The inner workings of the computer provide unlimited possibilities for performing an unlimited variety of tasks. We are no different. Our inner workings determine our external performance, and they are inevitably reflected on our screen in the way we interact with people as we go about our daily work. And like the inner workings of a computer, our inner workings, our motivations and perceptions, are the source of unlimited potential for energy, ingenuity, courage, and passion. But to access that unlimited potential, we have to identify any roadblocks to that unlimited potential, and we have to find ways to remove those roadblocks. Like the computer techie, we can learn how we work inside. We can identify the barriers to optimum performance, and we can remove those barriers and access the source of our unlimited potential. Now, how do we actually do this in a one-day interactive introspection workshop? First and most important is where we do this. It is essential that employees be invited off campus in a neutral, contemplative environment where they have the opportunity to be free from the organizational pressures and influences. This has two benefits. First, employees feel they are being valued, and they're given a gift in this day away from campus. Second, they feel safe enough in an off-campus environment to look inside themselves, identify their performance barriers, and share their insights with their peers. This interaction with the facilitator and their peers reinforces the validity of their experiences and enhances understanding and empathy between coworkers. No matter what the relationship between participants was at the beginning of this workshop, when they leave for the day, they have become a cohesive, empathetic team with a strong commitment to supporting each other's growth and the growth of the organization. After a day of being guided through a series of customized introspective exercises, participants experience a transformation. For the first time in most of their lives, they have a roadmap that empowers them to navigate inside themselves and find the root cause for their motivations, their perceptions, and their behavior. They are able to determine what drives them, identify what personal barriers to optimum performance they have, define their life's work and purpose, build a personal action plan for removing their barriers and releasing unlimited resources for performance excellence. And they are able to create a collaborative action plan with their team for aligning their resources and their life's work with the organizational goals. One key factor contributing to the participants' transformational experience in this workshop is a re-examination of the core motivators of all human behavior. At birth, the overwhelming concern of the infant is survival. And as we grow into childhood, adolescence, and then adulthood, that concern gradually diminishes. And the freedom to pursue our life's work and purpose becomes our overriding driver. Of course, lingering concerns about our survival continue on, even into adulthood when we are relatively free to make our mark on the world. So, our core motivators are always on a continuum between overwhelming concerns about our survival and a total sense of freedom, a sense of being loved, valued, and safe. An interesting piece of information. The word freedom derives from an Indo-European root word meaning beloved, precious, and at peace. So when we are feeling that we are beloved, precious, and at peace, we are free. And when we are not feeling that we are beloved, precious, and at peace, we become more concerned about our survival. To see how this re-examination of our motivators works, let's do a modified and abbreviated version of one of the exercises in the workshop together now. Please take a piece of paper and draw a horizontal line across the paper. If you don't have a piece of paper, please draw an imaginary line in your mind. At one end of the line, please write the word survival. At the other end of the line, please write the word freedom. Now, let's begin to consider what drives you on this continuum of human motivation in each of the following areas of your life. As you do this, bear in mind that most of us are rarely entirely concerned with our survival or entirely free. So let's begin. Please make a mark on the continuum line to indicate whether you feel more concerned with your survival or more free to fulfill your life's work in relation to your physical well-being. Next, please make a mark on the continuum line to indicate whether you feel more concerned with your survival or more free to fulfill your life's work in relation to your financial needs. Next, please make a mark on the continuum line to indicate whether you feel more concerned about your survival or more free to fulfill your life's work in relation to your career growth. Next, please make a mark on the continuum line to indicate whether you feel more concerned with your survival or more free to fulfill your life's work in relation to your social interactions. And last, please make a mark on the continuum line to indicate whether you feel more concerned with your survival or more free to fulfill your life's work in relation to your community commitments. With this insight into these core motivators, survival and freedom, participants then continue on with their introspection and begin to identify the root cause of their individual barriers to performance excellence. Once participants have identified the root cause of their performance barriers, including their motivations, expectations, habitual behaviors, and ingrained thoughts and feelings, and once they have defined their life's work and purpose, the next step is to create an action plan for removing those barriers and releasing their unlimited energy, ingenuity, courage, and passion. In order to develop an effective action plan, participants learn how to identify and integrate the use of their intellect, their emotions, and their intuition. Using all three tools of perception, they are better equipped to define their goals and solve their problems. They apply these tools of perception to creating both their individual action plans and in working with their team to build a collaborative action plan that aligns their purpose and abilities with the organization's goals. These action plans are an essential takeaway from the introspection workshop. In order for their day of introspection and insights to yield maximum value, the participants' experience has to translate into practical, action-oriented results for the employees and for the organization. After completing the introspection workshop, one participant remarked, "This workshop is a game changer." Another participant commented, "I really enjoy the opportunity to contemplate my place in the world and how I interact with and affect the people around me. It is rare that we have the opportunity to reach inside ourselves and think about who we are and who we can become. There were so many insights shared, and I am giving a great deal of thought to several of them. I am grateful to everyone for being so open and sharing their insights with the group. It made all the difference." She added, "I now always think about what I can do to further align my actions with my goals, aspirations, and life's purpose." And this employee's supervisor reported back that the very next day after the workshop, she was eagerly and effectively reflecting what she had experienced and learned, using her intuitive perceptions and her improved interactions with her customers. Her supervisor's final comment was, "Great job." As more and more companies recognize and understand that the well-being of their internal customers, their employees, is the foundation of the sustained growth of their business, they begin to look around for ways to improve that foundation from the inside out, including introducing wellness programs and attempting to create a shift in the culture that produces more growth, more productivity, engagement, innovation, and more internal and thereby more external customer satisfaction. That's where this workshop's most effective. Without internal customer satisfaction, all an organization can expect from its employees is average performance, compliant morale, indiscriminate sick days, disloyal turnover, and minimal engagement and innovation. This, in turn, negatively affects external customer service and, of course, the ability to generate sustainable growth and increase revenue year over year. According to an article in Forbes, burnout, stress, low morale, depression, and disengagement all lead to high absenteeism, with the annual cost of absenteeism among managers and executives reaching a staggering $17.5 billion. And of course, the cost of lukewarm engagement and minimum innovation is beyond measure. As Peter Drucker noted, marketing and innovation produce results. All the rest are costs. Highlighting the value of the introspection workshop in her organization, one client remarked, "Finally, we have a transformational program that not only empowers our employees to achieve performance excellence, but also provides them with tools they can continually use to assure their own ongoing personal and professional development. This is exciting." And another client noted, "From a sales, marketing, ethical, and theoretical perspective, this workshop is the foundation for every operational and/or performance program that's out there. It is the necessary precursor and catalyst to garner maximum impact from all other programs we are using or will be using in the future." If you'd like to discuss the introspection workshop and its value to your organization, please contact me at barbarabenjamin@cclcenter.com. That's BARBARA BARABENJAMIN at CCLCENTER.com. Thank you for your time and interest today. I look forward to meeting and working with you.